What's up, everybody? Garrick Rummel here with Duty to Train. I was just talking to my silent partner, the active duty Green Beret, and I've been trying to figure out whether or not I want to marry my business with my faith journey. And I've been praying about it. I'm like, dude, I need to sign here. And listen to this. Listen to this. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the signs I've been getting. You tell me if this isn't a sign. If this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. All right, hear me out. I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, dude. I was talking to him. I was trying to come up with other revenue streams. We have a couple revenue streams that we're going to be implementing once the business gets up and running. We have two right now. We have the courses, and then we have like a subscription-based model that's going to help people when they actually go to shoot at the range. And I talked to him, and I was like, hey, dude, I want to like kind of spitball ideas about the best way to kind of make sure there's not any other products. I'm not trying to fill people with a bunch of random stuff, but I'm trying to think of like the way Apple thinks. Like every single thing that people need, let's make sure that they have that. And how can we make it as easy as possible? Because if I don't make the best product, another company will come out and they will make a better product, and then we will go by the wayside. So I have to make sure that my company fulfills the needs of our customers, and nobody can come in and make a better product. I have to make sure ours is the best. And so I was like, hey, let's have a phone call and talk about like if there's any other products we can come up with that makes shooters' lives easier. So we start talking and get to the point, and I've been making these YouTube videos about my faith, and I've been putting them out there publicly, and I haven't talked to him about this. And he's a minority investor right now, but eventually down the line, he is going to be my business partner. And I told him that from day one. I was like, dude, right now I'm doing the majority of the work. I get a majority of the revenue. And he's like, yep, totally cool. But I was like, this spot will be here, and I want you to be a part of this company. And the reason that I picked him was because I trust him with my life. He is my oldest friend. I've known him for ever since first grade. He's just a dear, dear friend of mine, but he also knew my brother. And he will never screw me. I know that. Like, I just know it in my bones. There's so many stories of people who get screwed over by their business partner. And the reason that I picked him originally was because he won't do that to me. He has Phelan's vision. He knew Phelan, and he would never dishonor the memory of Phelan by screwing me. So when it came to who should I choose, there was only one option, and I picked this person for a reason. And it was because I trusted him implicitly. And so I know that's a long explanation, but hear me out. This is why I'm getting the sign. So we start talking tonight, and I talk to him. I'm like, hey, I want to like combine my faith journey with the business. And I've been making some YouTube videos, and I was like frankly hoping that he wouldn't get upset about it and be like, dude, I don't really feel that way. I don't think that's a good idea. And long story short, he goes, dude, I have been leaning into my faith recently. And he's like, he literally said, he's like, dude, it's like gold. I can't go wrong. He's like, everything I touch just turns to gold. Everything is just going amazing. I'm leaning into my faith, and it just makes everything better. And so he said he's totally on board. And another thing he wants to do is write a book and about being like a good man. He's like, there's all these like weak men out there right now. And frankly, we were talking about like pornography and how, a lot of men nowadays, they have like this pornography. And he was like, like I don't watch pornography anymore. He doesn't watch pornography. He hasn't in a very long time. And he's like, it's the best thing that ever happened in my marriage. And you got all these like young guys, like men are supposed to be Vikings is what he said. He's like, we're supposed to be like the manly men. We go out, we get women, we get a woman, not women. We get a woman. That's what makes you a man. You get a woman and you take care of her, and you take care of her forever. You take care of her mentally, physically, spiritually, and like she's yours, and you're hers, like you share each other. But you don't like go and watch porn and sit on your phone in your basement and like watch two other people have sex. Like, is there anything more emasculating than that? And I was just listening to him talk, and he was just spitting ideas like that. And I started laughing when he said that, because I was like, dude, you really need to write this book, because that's a message that people are just begging for right now. But we just kept talking. We started talking about business, and then we ended up having an hour-long conversation about our faith, religion, God, morals, being a good person. And I'm Catholic, and he is non-denominational. And so I don't care about that. I don't care what denomination you belong to, but you need to be a faith-based person. If you're going to aspire to be the best version of yourself, you can't achieve that. And it's crazy that I'm saying this. I'm probably going to stop saying that because it's not crazy anymore to me. But just in the past 2 months, I am the happiest I've ever been. And my brother died 10 months ago. Who can do that? Who can do that except for God? I've got a business. I'm getting sign after sign. And like when I pray, I've literally been praying for the past 3 or 4 days. And it only took 3 or 4 days. And I don't know why. Like I've asked God for years. I'm like, dude, 2x4s, 2x4s, 2x4s. And all of a sudden, he like won't stop whacking me over the head. He's like, oh, you want another one? Boom. You want another one? Boom. You want another one? Boom. And like 4 days go by, and I literally get the strongest sign that marrying my company and my religious beliefs is exactly what I should be doing, because my business partner said, yeah, totally on board. And he, I don't want to go into a whole lot of things that he said because that's his stuff, but when I'm talking about signs, people, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I am getting them left and right. And if you finally open yourself up to religion and God, and I believe the Catholic Church, he said that he doesn't like that the Catholic Church is dominated by the clergy, right? It's supposed to be the people's church. And right now, there's just like this huge hierarchy in the church, and the lay people are just kind of like, meh. And funny enough, I literally got a text, and this is, dude, another sign. Oh my gosh. And this is like a little bit more intense than like your average video, but this is what I'm dealing with right now. Like, I feel like God has huge goals for me. And frankly, it's almost like there's like a lot of pressure, right? Because I have to wake up every day, and if I waste a day, it's like God's like, dude, I'm giving you all the signs. Like, you wanted them, I'm giving to you. Don't waste the day. And so I finished talking to him, and I get a text from a buddy of mine, and I just recently joined a church, and I want to start a men's group there because I went to a family get-together at my parish, and it was for like young families, like families with young kids, like anywhere under like 10 or so. Like, it's probably, you could go a little bit over that, but we went there. There were probably like, I don't know, 10, 12 families, and none of them had kids like over 10. So it's a young family kind of get together that happens once a month at our church. And my wife and I went for the very first time this past Sunday. And so I went and introduced myself to some of the dads. And I said, hey, is there a men's group here? And it wasn't the first thing I said, but after talking to him for like 15 minutes or so, I was like, hey, do you guys have like a young men's group here? And they said, no, there's like an old men's group, and like you can go to that. It's not like just for older guys, but there's nothing like specifically geared towards younger men. And so I was like, oh, like we got to do this. Like we got to, do this. And so I didn't say that, but I just kind of said like, oh, would you guys want to start one? Because there were 5 of us there. And I said, we have 5 guys here. We're all dads. We're all kind of going through the same thing. We all have kids roughly the same age. Like, this would be a pretty good group of guys. Like, would you want to start one? And everybody was on board. And I'm like new to the church. I'm not like crapping on anything. But this is like my problem with the church. And this is my buddy's problem with the church. He was saying he's not Catholic because he doesn't like that the Catholic Church is so clergy and hierarchy focused. And I totally agree. But the problem is that all these churches, nobody is focusing on like lay people. Like, who can focus on the lay people? The lay people, like, that's our job. Our job is to form these groups. And I go like to this church, and great pastor, by the way, St. Patrick's in Rockville, Maryland. He just talks about real stuff. Monsignor Perry, shout out, talks about real stuff. He's talked about like pornography. He's talked about like just taking money, like putting money like above God. He has talked about just like a lot of things recently that are just like real in the world that's going on, and how you can kind of like fight that to be your best self. And when I wanted to, I asked God, I was like, dude, I'm trying to find the right church. And it was actually the church that I got married at. And crazy enough, another sign that literally just hit me right now. Right now. Like the one church that I ended up going to was the same one I got married at. And that was the only one. I went to like three other churches, and then this was the fourth one. And this is the one that really, like, they actually are talking about real stuff. And so you have to find the church that makes sense for you. But, I go there, and priest is great, and there's no young men's group. And it's like, guys, what are we doing? Why is there no young men's group here? What is going on? And I told my wife, I'm gonna repeat a lot of stuff in these videos, but like a lot of this just ties in. Lots of different ideas tie into like different ideas. And I told my wife, like, I was like, we're gonna be Catholic, and I was like, but we're not gonna be these like fly by the seat of your pants, like easy when it, easy come, easy go Catholic. Like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna go all in, and we're gonna do it right. We're gonna get involved. We're gonna form groups. We're gonna like be part of groups. Whatever we gotta do, we are gonna be active like members of our community. And there's like no young person community. How do you expect as a church to recruit young guys if there's not even a group dedicated to young guys? What? And so anyway, sorry, I'm like going on some rants right now, but I started talking to this guy, and he was saying, like, let's form like this group. And he called me, he said, hey, or he texted me, this friend of mine said, hey, do you have a couple seconds to talk? And so I said, yeah. We ended up having an hour-long conversation. This is what religion does. Like, you end up having some deep conversations with people. And we were just talking about, like, the importance of forming this group and like how we could do it. Like, should we have priests involved? Should it be like older men and younger men? And that's like all still fluid, so like we'll figure out and see how it goes. But what I told him, and he's totally in agreement, and this is like, it wasn't just my idea, but I was like, well, I guess this was kind of my idea, so I'll take credit for it. I said, I want to form a community at St. Patrick's, which is the church that we go to in Rockville, Maryland. But there are people telling young men right now that they can be girls. And I'm not going to shy away from this. I thought I was going to. No. I'm like too religious to not talk about the things that are important. I can compete with that. If that's the argument I have to compete with, I'm gonna stomp that argument into the ground. Into the ground. If you're a man, be a man. Be the best man you can be. Be a strong man. Be an independent man. Be a resourceful man. Be an exceptional man. And you can't be a woman. You can't have kids. Sorry. That might make you sad, but get over it. Pull up your knickers and, put on your big boy pants and go be a man. And that's not even a hard argument to go against, but there's so many young men who are just lost. And how can we even hope to recruit these young men into the church? And it's like recruit might even be the wrong word, but how can we save them? Like these young men need to be saved. They need to be like lifted out of like their despair. Like there's so many young men, and like there's a lot of young women too, but I just feel like that's not maybe like my calling. I can definitely connect with young men, and I think that if we get a lot of young men who start standing up and like believing in God and having a good faith, and I don't even care if you're Catholic. I'm going to argue for what I believe to be the correct church. But if you want to like go to a different church, fine. Make good decisions. Be a moral person. Tell the truth. Be honest. Fess up when you do things that are wrong. And we're never going to, as a society, correct these wrongs that have just eaten away if we don't stand up and sound out proudly for what we believe in. Like, I am proud to be Catholic, and I never thought I would say that, but I am. And it's a heck of a lot better. Like, it's not even a heck of a lot better. It's literally night and day. Like, it's the lightest part of day compared to the darkest part of night. Being faithful and living a moral life. Not even like, I'm not arguing with the Catholic Church right now. Being faithful, believing in God, and living your life the way that He intended. And doing whatever you want to do. Right? Society is telling everybody, you can just do whatever you want to do. And we need people up here And this is finally where I'm at right now. And this is why I feel like God is calling me to do big things. And I told my friend, I was like, dude, we need to create a wave. Like, I'm not even talking about just St. Patrick's. Like, we need to reach out to other churches. Do you have a men's group? Do you have a young men's group? No? All right, we're going to come over there and we're going to form one for you. Like, I'm going to alter the way the Catholic Church like operates. Like, if I have to. You know, if somebody else takes the reins, I don't care. But I told my buddy, I was like, dude, we have waited for years and years and years. You know, like 20, 30, 40 years. While the idea that you can just do whatever you want, have as many sexual partners as you want, sleep with whoever you want, be whatever gender you want, like apparently no one's standing up. No one's doing it, right? No one's actually making the difference. No one's connecting with these kids in a way that's making sense to them, right? I guess people are trying. There's lots of people that are trying, right? I'm not saying that like I'm the only one. I'm just saying that God is also calling me, and I think these other group of men at this church, I think our group, and this is like another crazy thing, like I'm going to have Duty to Train, and then I'm going to have this podcast, this religion podcast, and I'm going to have this other group where I think that we're going to make waves in the Catholic Church. And I think we can, you know, like you can either go down to your parents' basement and you can watch pornography and jack off like a little boy, right? A little lame little boy. Or you can have the life that I have and have a beautiful, amazing wife who is there for you every single day. Every time you feel down, she's there to support you. You know, frankly, have a great physical, sexual relationship. Like that is something that young people need to be told. Like, what, you know, it's like these are the types of videos, like I don't know, it's like kind of awkward saying that like on like a public forum, but like these are the types of things that young people need to be told. That pornography is not going to make you a happy person, dude, and you know it. Every time you're done, like, do you feel super fulfilled? No, you just feel like a loser. Why? Because you're a loser. You're being a loser. And I was there. I used to be there, right? But I'm no longer a loser. So it's my job to tell people that, like, dude, that's not the life you live. If you want to be actually happy, that's not the life you live. And it's my turn to stand up, you know, and I think God is choosing me to do massive things. And if you're just starting watching this channel, and if you're still watching this video, how far are we in? 17 minutes. I think I can do this under like 25, because I don't know, maybe a couple more minutes. But I think God is calling me to do some massive, massive things. And it's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild, wild ride. You know, it takes some time. Nothing's easy. Nothing's given. Everything's earned. But I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping anytime soon. Duty to Train, this podcast, my men's group, and that's probably just the beginning. I'm probably going to do more. Who knows? Who knows what God has in store for me? But like, look, listen to my voice. How hopeful I am. How excited I am. You know? And I guess I told God that, like, if he helps me make Duty to Train succeed, that I will be an advocate for him and his church. And I am in no way feel like I am discounting my promise on that. But, like, my buddy, who is my silent partner, is non-denominational. And I know a lot of people who go to non-denominational churches who live amazing, amazing lives. I think that they're wrong. And my buddy, who eventually will become public, he can't be public right now because he's an active duty Green Beret. He can't be a public face on this company. That's the reason he's not going to have a public image. But once he is out of the military, then he will have a public image. But that won't be for a few years. But open up your heart to the idea that God loves you, will forgive you for any past transgressions, and is there to welcome you with open arms, just like your parents would if you've been making terrible decisions and finally you just flip a switch and you go home and you say, Mom, Dad, I messed up. I know I've messed up. I know that give me one chance. And you really mean it. You got to really mean it, right? If you start screwing up all over again, it's like, all right, come back when you're ready, right? Because you're not going to get the signs. You're not going to get the signs if you're not ready. Like, I know this because this is what I had to do, right? I never got the signs until I was ready. And for whatever reason, it took my brother dying for me to be ready. I don't know why, right? Like, I look back now and it's like, yeah, all the signs were there, but I didn't want to see them, right? If you're not ready, you're not going to see them. But once you're ready, right? And pornography is honestly, it's just a great example. Like, every time, guys, talking to the young men out there, every time you watch pornography, the sign is there. It's the shame and the guilt and the loser feeling that you have after you're done, right? You don't get that when you have sex with a woman that you love. You feel fulfilled and you feel good afterwards. And you're like, hey, I love you. What's better? This one. It's obvious. The sign is there every single time. Every time. You just have to open up yourself. You have to open up your mind. You have to open up your heart. And so this is a lot more emphatic of a video than I will usually do. But I have just been getting sign after sign after sign. And I just wanted you guys to, I just want to give you like a little bit of like a portal into the my soul right now and the way I'm feeling, because I am literally like on fire with the Holy Spirit. And it is weird. But like my uncle, and I said this in the other video, like my uncle, he told me a couple years ago, he's like, you just don't get it yet. Once you're going to get it, he's like, dude, there's nothing like it. And I told him, I was like, dude, like, it's not going to happen. And this actually makes me so sad to say. And this wasn't an uncle thing, but this is my dad's cross. So my dad committed suicide when I was 11. And this is my dad's cross. And so I've been wearing it like ever since. And I honestly was going to melt it down and turn it into something else because I was that against religion about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was at the beach. I forget exactly what happened, but something happened. I was with like my in-laws, and my father-in-law was like, dude, do not do that. He's like, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And like, thank God. I love this. This is like one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, materially wise. So it's probably this, my wedding ring, and then my brother's pistol. Those are probably my 3 favorite material possessions in the entire world, I think. Yeah. But that's why, like, you gotta stay open. You gotta stay open. And my uncle told me, he's like, dude, once you get it, you'll get it. And I was like, no way, no chance, right? That's how hard I thought I was right. I thought there was no chance I was ever coming over to this side. And I was gonna melt down my dad's cross. Because I was like, no, there's no chance I'm ever coming over. And here I am, just literally like bursting with the Holy Spirit. I don't know. But I'm going to do some amazing things. And this is the other thing. It's not because I want to be famous. It's not because I want to be rich. I think God is blessing me, and he knows that I can do this because I can. I know that I can. Like, with his help, I can do it. By myself, I don't think I could, because I've been trying to do just basic crap for the past 10 years. I've been trying to just stay afloat by myself, and I've been sinking the entire time. And now, all of a sudden, like, I'm forming a men's group, I'm building a company, I'm doing podcasts every single day, and, like, all of a sudden, stuff's just working out. And is that because, like, I don't know, the naysayers out there would be like, yeah, that's just because you're finally putting in the effort. Like, Joe Rogan's super successful. He's not a religious person. And, like, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. All I can tell you is my own personal experience, that every single time I pray, like, I got a sign like that tonight. I've been praying for like 3 to 4 days. Is this the right move? Because I just started my religion podcast on Sunday. I released the first one on Sunday, and I was kind of skeptical. I was like, I don't know if this is the right way to go, and I didn't know if I was going to talk about like kind of political stuff about like, the whole like gender ideology movement and stuff like that. I don't want to like beat that to a horse, because I don't know. I'm just like, I'm still struggling with different stuff. And so I just pray about it. But then I get this sign tonight that's like, go for it. Go. Like, there's the truth, and it's never wrong to speak the truth. That's basically what I'm trying, I guess, in a nutshell, that's what I'm trying to say, is that all I'm going to do on this video series is speak the truth, and that's it. And I know what is true because I know what has happened in my life. And when I try to do things on my own, my life falls apart. But God will help you out if you just seek Him out and ask for forgiveness and pray and then open yourself up to the signs. He'll tell you what to do. He'll show you the door. But if you don't want it, He's not going to force His way into your life. And I was listening to something. My sister-in-law sent me something earlier, and I forget what Bible passage it is. And, I'm not great on the Bible yet. But it was just talking about how, like, when God wants to enter your life, everybody wants Him to be like, I'm coming in and I'm going to change your life. That's not what happens. He comes and knocks on your door and He goes, hey, just wanted to see, I wanted to clean up your house today. And I know that you're a little stressed out, and I wanted to clean up and, kind of fix some things. And I'm a carpenter, and, I kind of fix people's houses. And I thought, maybe I could do some stuff for you today. And you're like, no, I'm busy. I got a bunch of stuff going on. Thanks, dude, but I'll talk to you later. And He's like, okay, all right, sounds good. I'll just, I'll stop by tomorrow, And then He comes back and He knocks on the door again. And He goes, hey, just wanted to know if you're, if you're still busy. I just had some things I thought I could fix and make your life a little easier. And you're like, dude, I'm busy. Go away. And He's like, okay, sounds good. And so maybe He'll give you a little bit of time. And then He comes back a month or two later and He goes, hey, just wondering if you're dude, go away. And He's like, okay, sounds good. Maybe you'll wait a year. Maybe you'll wait 2. And He comes back and He goes, maybe you are really starting to struggle now. Maybe you're okay, you're really in a rough spot. Your house is falling apart. And He comes back and He's like, I see your house is caving in. Just wanted to see if, it's been a really long time. And I know that the last time we talked, you weren't super happy, but, still willing to help you out if you're open to it. And you go, really? And He's like, yeah, no, definitely. This is, yeah, I'd love to help you out. And so He goes, yeah, I'll help you with your roof and stuff. And you go, okay, yeah, are you going to charge me? He's like, no, I just want to help you out. You go, okay, yeah, I have 12 leaks in my roof. He's like, yeah, no, for sure. I got all the supplies outside. I'll just come in and help you fix it. It might take a couple weeks. It might not happen right away. And you're like, well, as long as it gets fixed, I don't have the money to fix it right now. He's like, yeah, no, I'll take care of it. That's how He enters your life. He doesn't come in, knock down the door and be like, here it comes. I'm coming for you. Free will, guys. He gave us free will. If you want to say no, He's not going to force Himself. But He also doesn't come in like a wrecking ball. He will if you're finally ready. If you step out the door and you're like, hey, God, my house is falling apart. I really need some help. I need you to fix my roof. He'll be like, coming. That's how I feel, at least. I finally was like, dude, I need some help. Please help me out. And He was like, got you. And here I am. So, I don't know. That's a cool analogy, I think. I just found that today. So, I'm big into analogies. I'm probably going to be huge into analogies on this channel. So, let's see. 27. Got it under 30? I don't know. I think this is a cool podcast. And really, I just want to share with people my journey. I'm going to do a lot more, gun training stuff, down the road. But right now, my religious experience and my faith-filled journey is just exploding right now. And my gun training is also exploding, but I don't want to just throw out every single thing I'm learning on YouTube, because then it's so I have certain things I'm doing, Gold Nugget Tuesday. I'm supposed to do a research podcast today, which I'm going to end up doing tomorrow, and then that's going to release on Thursday rather than do it today, just because I just got talking about religion, and then I got just I'm just I was supposed to talk to my buddy about different stuff, and then that's not what I was supposed to talk about. God gave me a sign. He's like, no, talk about religion. That's what I want you doing. I want you taking your time and spending time on religion, talking to your buddy, because that's what I want you also doing in your business. Build your business, but then also spread my word, spread the gospel. And so that's what we talked about for an hour. And we didn't really come up with any groundbreaking ideas for the business, but maybe that was the whole point. We were supposed to talk about religion, and that was my sign. And so, that's the thing. You have to be open to those things. I wasn't supposed to talk about the business tonight. I was supposed to talk about my faith. And I didn't know that until I had the experience. I didn't even really tie it all together in that way until I'm talking about it now. But the more you think about it, the more you open yourself up, the crazier it gets. And man, if you're out there right now and you're like, dude, I just don't feel this, just stay open. Just stay open, right? And like I talked to my uncle about this 3 years ago when COVID started, 4 years ago. Like, sometimes it'll take time. Like it might not happen, tomorrow. It might not happen in a year. And like the thing is like I was never really ready to be like a faithful servant for God until recently, until like I had a reason. This is actually, and I'll just keep going because now I have another idea. I have a Macallan 12-year right here. I've honestly been wanting to like take a sip for a while, so screw it. I'm just gonna take a sip. Yes, I have. I drink whiskey. But no, let's lost my train of thought. That's what Macallan will do to you. Oh dang, I just lost my train of thought. No, I just had a good point. See, that's what happens when you put alcohol above God. He's punishing me right now. He's punishing me. Come on, God. Let's pray to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, please give me my thought back. Seriously, what was I just thinking about? Oh, he's gonna really punish me right now. Do I have to end this? I don't want to end this video on this. What was I just talking about? Give me 1 minute. If I can come up with this in a minute, it's a sign from the Holy Spirit that I'm supposed to talk about it. All right, let's put this together. Put the pieces of the puzzle. I was talking to my buddy. Signs. Oh, I lost it. See, that's what happens. I started. That makes me so frustrated. Maybe I'll splice. I'll try. I'll watch the video real quick. I'll splice this and then I'll continue. All right. So 1 sec. Okay. So I just went and rewatched the video. I got it. Okay. So I was not ready to be a good servant to God because I didn't have a good reason to. I had always, honestly, if I had made a bunch of money before, I would have just put all my money into material possessions. I would have bought a bunch of nice cars. I would have done all these things, but I can't do that with Duty to Train. And the reason why, is one, because I wouldn't be a faithful servant to God. But like really the thing that is making sure that I always stay faithful to that, and that should be God. But for right now, I think God is helping me use something that is going to keep me on the straight and narrow. Just like in my last video, I was talking about like confession and how that keeps me on the straight and narrow. My drive to take my brother's vision and turn it into something bigger than he ever could have imagined. It requires me to keep his vision alive. And he was a good person. And he wasn't perfect. He had lots of flaws. But in order to do him justice, in order to do his vision of Duty to Train justice, I have to make sure that money is not at the forefront of my mind. Like fame is not at the forefront of my mind, right? Serving people, doing good, and helping as many people as possible. That is my mission. That is my mission. And I was honestly, and this is not just something I'm thinking about. Like, this is the reason I think God is helping me out. He's like, now you're ready. Now you're ready to succeed. Before you weren't ready because you didn't have something. And I'm not saying in no way am I saying that he killed off my brother. I'm just saying that he knew my brother was going to die. And so he said, I'm going to wait because your brother's going to die. And when he dies, that's going to open up an opportunity for you. I'm not killing him off, right? I gave him free will, but I'm not going to force myself on you because I know the moment. I know the moment that you'll be ready. And when you're ready, I'm going to be able to use you to do incredible and astounding things. And I think he's going to. And I think this is, oh man, I'm so excited because I think this is going to be a crazy and wild ride. And if he had tried to do this 4 or 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8, especially 9, 10 years ago, I would have just spent a bunch of money on cars and, just all the wrong things. And now, like I told him, if you help me make this succeed, and I told him, I was like, and I said this, in my heart this is true. I will not be the person who buys 12 cars because I can. I will be the person that helps as many people as I can. And that's the reason I think he wants me to succeed over other people, because my intentions are pure. And if he helps me and makes me successful, and I told him, I was like, I'm not saying that I'll never buy a nice car, but I will only have one. That was my promise to him. I will only ever have one car. It might be a Porsche. I'm not perfect. I do have some dreams. I like fast cars. But I told him I will not waste a bunch of money on material possessions, right? I'm not going to have 12 watches, right? I do like having a nice watch. I would really like a nice watch. That'd be super cool, you know. But wasting a bunch of money. My point is that like I'm not perfect. Like, are there things that I want? Yes. That's what I want to get across. I'm not saying I'm this saint. Like, there are things that I do still want. But that's also a motivating and driving factor. I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Like the day that I can go out and buy the car that I want, right? Like that will be a reward. But I'm not going to do that until I feel like I'm ready. I'm not going to stretch myself and go above and beyond my means when I can invest that money back into the company and grow this bigger. I'm going to do it when I have enough money and I'm like, okay, now's the time. And if I had become super successful, I would have just spent all my money on the wrong things. And actually, last point, but it honestly ate me away for a long time that I didn't invest in Bitcoin. And this is like a way, you're probably like, whoa, that came out of left field. But again, this is like, I haven't tied this together until just now. But if I had succeeded in Bitcoin, because I remember hearing about it a really long time ago, and I just remember hearing about it. I was like, oh, interesting, and that was it. That was like the last thought I had. And I remember like it was like $1 or $2, and I never even thought about investing. I'm not like saying like, oh, I invested and I sold it, but it like has always eaten me away. But if I had succeeded, if I had invested and I got a lot of money from my grandfather who passed away, so I could have taken quite a bit of cash, went into that, and frankly made hundreds of millions of dollars. And so I always was like, oh man, imagine if that had happened. It kind of like ate me away for a really long time. Like, oh, what if? And now I realize that if God had given that to me, it would have been the worst thing that had ever happened to me. It would have been the worst thing that ever could have happened, because I would have just spent all of my money in all the wrong places. It would have been a complete waste of time, energy, resources, and my own personal human abilities. And God was like, no, I have bigger plans for you. And it's not just spending money based off this like fake token, right? No disrespect to Bitcoin. I'm not crapping on Bitcoin. But I'm more of a gold bug myself, just saying. But, God knows the time, right? If you're open, don't get frustrated with him that you're not getting it. Because I did. And I never really actively was like, I was just like, hey dude, like you're the one that you're the one that's, telling me that, I don't know, you're the one that made me. So don't get upset with me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. This is like way too long already. But my point is God knows the time when you're ready. Don't force it. And if you keep your heart and mind open, he'll come. He'll come. He knows the time. You don't know the time. You're just a fallible, sinful, frankly, weak human being. And we all are. We're all just a bunch of weak human beings. But there's this like divine human or divine being watching over us and just waiting for us to be open. And if we are open, and I frankly always have been, I'm like, dude, I'm down, but you gotta let me know. And so once my brother died, he's like, all right, you better be ready. And he just went, boom, and just smacked me up the side of the head until I was like, 10 months later, I was like, got it, noted, and here I am. So it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild ride. And I hope that you all get to experience this, because it's frankly, I was talking to my buddy and I was talking to the guy who called me afterwards. People need to stop being ashamed of their religion. And that's not who I am. I am never ashamed of who I am. Like, I'm like loud and proud about who I am. I'm like, if you don't care, like sometimes that does bother me, but like I just kind of use it as like a personal challenge to like be myself. And frankly, when I like annoy people, that's kind of like, to me, I'm like, if you disagree with me and I really think I'm right and it annoys you, like too bad. You're wrong, I'm right, and I'm not gonna back down. And I think that's why God chose me. I think that's why God chose me for this journey. I think that's why God is blessing me with everything that like I have going on right now, because he's like, you asked for the signs, Now you're ready. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm ready when you are. Like, you got to give me the signs. And then my brother died, and he gave me the signs. Took like, I don't even think it was a 2x4. I think it was like a bat, and he just went right up to my head, and I was like, noted. And it took about 10 months of him hitting me with a bat, but it's in there. So I don't know. This is like really long, and maybe I don't think anyone's gonna probably get to this point, but I think people will eventually. I think this video will eventually get more views than it will have in the next couple months, because people will look back and be like, "Huh, I wonder like what he was like at the beginning of his journey," and people will come back and they'll watch this video. So to all the people, maybe I don't know. What's today's date? It's Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. And so whatever year you're watching this, right? I hope that there's people that come and watch this 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. And I hope that like Duty to Train is wildly successful. I have made waves in the Catholic Church. My men's group is spread nationwide, as far as it can go, because I think God is calling me to big things. And last point, my buddy who I was talking to today, my Army Green Beret silent partner, he said, when you have the ability to give, you have a responsibility to give. When you have the ability to achieve something, you have the responsibility to do it. And kind of like the same saying, like, to whom much is given, much is expected, And I think that I'm being blessed with a lot of things right now, and it's my job to take those and do good with them, and that's my plan. I have good intentions. God knows that. I told him, I was like, in my heart that, like, I'm being honest, and I will do good by you if you help me succeed, and I will do the best that I can to spread your message. In order to do that, I need to be successful, and that's why I think he's going to help me succeed, because I can't spread his message if people don't flock to me. And it requires people getting attracted to my message. But I think that's the reason that I'm kind of getting all fired up here, is because God's like, hey, no one's going to come to you if you're like, I'm pretty religious right now. I've gotten like a lot of signs, and it's pretty weird. It's pretty cool. That's just not going to... That's not going to resonate. No chance. No chance. So, I don't know. This is like who I am. I'm being like, I feel like I'm finding my voice a little bit when it comes to these videos. Shout out to, I'll just say shout out Bobby, because he just gave me a cool compliment today. He feels like I'm like finding my voice, and I feel like that's true. So, thanks for the compliment. I would agree. I'm getting a lot more comfortable on camera, and that was kind of the whole point of this. Like, I want to kind of get into my rhythm. Because once Duty to Train drops, I think like, if I have some really good content and I start to sound a lot better on camera, I think people are coming. And I need to have a good message. I need to be ready. I need to be prepared. And I think God's going to help me do that. So this is way too long of a video. But until next time, stay safe, live free. Keep the faith, people. Keep the faith. And if you don't have it, go and find it. Search every nook and cranny and go find that faith. Take care. See you later.